Hello, good day. Corrie here, just coming in to do a quick little conversation. I didn't change all my little information in my side thing, so sorry. It says readings, but we're not really doing readings. I'm going to talk about a card, but I just wanted to come in. It is a Monday morning. This is the 13th. We are about to go into some big energy shifts, and I do want to take some time to talk about those, but I don't have a lot of time today. So I just wanted to stop in to have that conversation and to communicate a little bit about what's happening. I don't see comments today. I don't know if I'll be able to on my phone. So I'm on the side here, so it's not coming up for some reason. But I will bring up my phone so I can see here to anyone who's watching. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today we are in the midst of some big energy shifts, is what I noticed when I was channeling through this morning for some other work that I was doing. And good morning, Sherry Villeneuve. You've been on my mind for days, just so you know. Um, and as I was channeling through some work, as I teach again tonight, as my master class on the 7 spiritual laws of success is continuing, that I just noticed there's a like this flare of energy that's happening. So I'm like, oh, we have a burst of energy about to happen. We have something kind of big that's taking off in the planets, and you may be feeling that shift in yourself. So sometimes when we're being pushed into a change or change is happening, there's you may feel the pressure of that. You may feel the resistance. You may feel this continual persistence that's happening. So paying attention to that energy today and being aware of it is very important. The big thing I want to talk about is the card that I posted this morning. I'm getting messages about my card this morning that are like, and so people want to understand it and understand what the message was. So I want to talk a little bit about the card. So the card that we have is Scarlet, and I posted it as our card of the day. So if you have not been on my Facebook page, you don't see this if you're on YouTube. You won't see it on YouTube, but you can see it on my Facebook page. I can share it in the stories on my on my YouTube channel, I guess, but you can read it on my Facebook. So if you're on whichever one you're on, then you can read this card of the day. And the card of it is the unveiling, and it is Scarlet, and this is the card that I shared. Now in the booklet, I speak of her kind of being like the essence of, the devil card, the devil over our shoulder, the essence of wondering what's behind us, a little bit afraid sometimes, like our own, what can take us to our own personal hell is the doubt once we make choices, and when we decide on things, and then we make those decisions, and the process that we put ourselves through after. And so the unveiling Scarlet, this card, and the message that I shared this morning was in channeling the card itself from creation. Now the artwork is by Amelia Richard. But the sketching came from my channeling, and the writings came from me channeling through working with Scarlet. So who Scarlet really came from for me was me channeling a message from the red Scarlet, from Rose. And Rose was the red Scarlet. She was tied into being the wife of Aleister Crowley, and I'd never really connected to that, like never read the books, never tied to it. And there was just, and this woman started to come to me, and she started to say she was going to teach me about how to protect myself, because I had no clue that I was always betraying myself. And so the card and what the unveiling and this really truly means and how it comes to, and you can see the storm of energy around her is in the sense of storm, is that she's revealing a truth. So there's no one that we betray more in our lives than we betray ourselves sometimes, by denying ourselves the ability to listen to our gut feeling, to our own intuition, to keep holding on when we should let go, when we keep hanging on to people, when we think, oh, I can bring out the best in people, I can make them better. No matter how many times somebody will tell me something with a person? Like, how many times have you done that in a relationship or with family or friends? And you're just like, you know what, but I just see the good in him, so I'm just going to keep holding on. Just because we can see the greatness of their spirit, the essence of possibility, the human always has a free will choice. And so sometimes when we're not even honest with ourselves and recognizing these things and what we do, we can't see that we have the archetype in our psyche of the betrayer, right? That we can betray our own selves. And often we betray our own selves by telling ourselves a different story than what we need to tell ourselves. So when we make a choice and we make a decision and we do it because we're afraid or we're innocent to anything else, we don't know there's another way to do things, that when you start to do your healing work and you get really honest with yourself, you look at those choices and your decisions and say, yeah, I did that because I didn't know another way. I didn't know another way out. I couldn't see another way. I just really truly thought that's would be the best way. And when we can really honestly be honest with ourselves in those ways, we stop betraying ourselves and we start to know the power of honesty in our own, so that we don't just keep, passing the buck, keep passing on that, somebody else is responsible. What am I responsible for? Where does that come in? And so when she started to come to me is the essence of, you know, how she, how she literally, was put out there as being like this mad woman. She became this crazy. But if you read the story from a place of compassion and seeing how we so easily betray the light, the love, the kindness within ourselves, the generosity, the beauty, the, we step away from that to really truly focus on wanting to bring out the best in somebody else, or doing the right thing, or we focus on not being fully honest with ourselves about who made our choices and our decisions in our lives. So when we keep living in the patterns and the cycles, so who made the choices in our lives, and where we and so if you were 25 and you made a choice and decision and now you're 55 and you're still explaining and justifying your why you made the decision at 25, you have to look into what is really going on here. Why am I betraying myself of today by the 25-year-old's choice or decision? Why is this still here, and why am I still allowing? The 25-year-old made a choice from the 25-year-old's wisdom and knowledge and what the 25-year-old knew. And so this card has a bigger, the card has seemed to grow legs today, and the card has seemed to come to life today in a bigger way. And I'm like, is this where some of the energy is this what we have happening in our energy? And and I know for myself, there's daily on a daily basis, I have to sometimes ask myself if I'm about to do something where I am going to betray the essence of what I'm trying to become, or the sense of the energy I'm trying to where I'm trying to bring my own power and live in my own power and live in my own truth. It's like if I'm going to say I'm going to be available only at these times, and then I answer 6 messages because the messages came in, and then I felt guilty and I felt like I should answer them, but I had said I wasn't going to be available, but yet I answered the messages. Who did I just betray? I didn't betray the people. I betrayed myself. And that's what I, really acknowledge that in such a big way, and how betrayal is a pattern. It's the sequence of events that transpire when we make a choice to choose, and then we run around being, frustrated, angry, all of those things about the choices and decisions. I made the choice, I made the decision, and that was it. And it's like, who made the choice? So it was if I answer those messages, then that's my shadow essence of feeling like, oh my God, what if, if I don't answer that message? Like, is it really going to matter if I don't answer that message? Maybe somebody's going to solve their own problem rather than me having to jump in, right? And so the moment that you step into that sense of feeling, responding from the guilt, the fear, the insecurities, shaming yourself, all of those things, is that in one way or the other, there is a betrayal that is happening. And like I said, it's the same thing that happens in relationships. So, and then bringing it all the way back to childhood. I feel the need to go all the way back to childhood for a moment to explain this one card that is posted on my Facebook today. And so, all the way back to childhood. How many times when you were a child, when you were little, did you feel your body go, mm-mm, mm-mm, no? Like even so much as someone shoving food in your mouth, right? Even so much someone saying, you're eating that, right? You're eating that. You're, mm-mm, mm-mm, I know, no. And so your body literally was telling the truth. You didn't want it. It wasn't for you. Or somebody pushing you into hugging people or accepting people or into a group of friends. Here, you will be happy if you go in there. Oh, don't make somebody else feel bad. You're going to make, aunt, uncle feel bad, or, oh my God, that's your mother. You don't, right? And so all of this energy, or that's your father, or but in that very moment, it's not saying you don't want to hug someone down the road, but in that moment, you don't want to. So you start to deny, the feeling, your instinctual self, that sense of self is speaking a truth and it's speaking for you, but we get pushed to deny it. So this pattern happens so early in our lives. And then we deny it constantly because we have constantly been pushed into situations where we are being forced to deny it. And it's not that somebody consciously does that or it's by choice, it's what they know, right? So we're innocent sometimes to what we don't know. And then we're betraying our own body throughout life, and we're betraying our truest of self throughout life. And that pattern continues. It's like, no, you did, or that, oh no, that's not really what happened. That's not the way it was, but it was how I experienced it. But yes, there's more to the story. So sometimes we betray ourselves the opportunity to see the bigger picture, to see the bigger story, to see things in a bigger way, to acknowledge it in a bigger way. So when I started to create the Everyday Goddess Oracle, it truly came from the beginning of me starting to not to deny myself part of my identity, which is the truth of me, and starting to not do things that I don't want to do. So things that I love and as a part of my true identity was creativity. And I start to remember the young girl and the little girl who would always draw hourglass figures and hair and big beautiful dresses. And so I'm like, I was always drawing those and I was always sitting with those. And I would sit with that when I was sad, when I was happy, no matter what it was. But that was me sitting with my channel. That was me sitting with my soul, myself, my spirit, whatever you want to call these things. And this was a place of safety. And so when I started to no longer do the things that I don't want to do, or the things that no longer suit me, or I started to say yes to the body's needs for these things in my life, and not just to be somebody. Like none of this was to just. And I came into all of this kicking and screaming, just saying. And it was just this sense of once you started to connect to that, I started to no longer identify by the things that were really not for me. And I start to remember and awaken the pieces of the identity, which when I was hairstyling, I was using that. I was working with that. I was working with the creativity, but it was the creativity that was always going out. And what was coming back in return was my soul was being fed the love and the light of me working with that identity. When it wasn't there and I wasn't drawing, I wasn't sketching, then I was betraying myself by just being available to the other parts of who and what we become. And so betrayal runs deeper than you think. Nope, all good on my phone as well, Rose. So I'm watching on my phone as well. So this is Scarlett. And so she's looking over her shoulder because she does still, sometimes she's thinking like, oh, what's back there? So she's afraid to let herself be seen afraid to sometimes say yes, but she's doing it anyway. So it's like the real truth is there, but she's no longer betraying herself. She's now speaking a truth. So when Red Scarlet Rose started to speak in a truth to somebody who would listen to her, I'm sure many have, is that when she started to speak from this place of vulnerability and being like the everyday woman, is that I started to see more than the legacy of the stories that other people tell. So our legacy of what others will tell or what another version of ourselves will tell is not really always the truth. When we want to really truly get focused and honest with ourselves, it's also a level of accountability. As much as, other people interfere in our choices and our decisions, in the end, as an adult, nobody makes the choice or decision but ourselves. So every choice and every decision made, what was the why behind that choice and decision? And I say, nobody forced me to make some of those choices and decisions. I did it, but why did I do it? And why was I betraying myself in those choices and decisions? And that was, when you can really look in it like that, and so when you can see it with compassion, you can sit across from the previous version of yourself, the younger version of yourself who made those choices and decisions, and you let that younger version of yourself have a voice. You give it a voice and you allow it to tell its side of the story. Allow that previous version of yourself to tell you why they did what they did. And when you can hear that coming through, then and so when you hear that coming through, then you literally will be able to start to hear with compassion, hear with your heart, hear with your body, feel it, sense it, that there is more to that story of why we self-sabotage, why we punish ourselves, why we compromise, why we negotiate away the best of ourselves. And all of that language ties into betrayal. And when you can see that and you can observe it in a third person view, and you can look in at yourself and you can observe from your own higher self and just say, I did make that choice. I did make it. And I made it because I didn't know there was another way. I was afraid. I was scared. Why did I stay in that relationship too long? Why did I think that if that my presence was going to be the one thing to change people? Is because I literally wanted to be loved. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be important. I wanted to be noticed. So all of that is the essence of what you are wanting, what your true self is, that previous versions of yourself, your shadow is saying to you, I want you to notice me. I want you to feel that love. I want you to connect to me. And it's like, and so when you start to connect to you, and you start to be in the essence of your own spirit, your own presence, you no longer deny. When you can see that we are just everyday people trying and doing our best, but the more that we start to know and learn, then we can really make different choices and different decisions. So for all of those who were wondering about Scarlet this morning and about the unveiling, and I didn't share the message from the book and the inspiration and the attitude and the healing, I shared how the channeled message came about, and I shared through the channeling of that and how I channel. It's like, it's not a personal message, it's an interpersonal. It is that sense of not trusting our inner authority, not connecting, not trusting our own instinctual self, because we have these fragmented pieces of our instinctual self that take a hold of us and that hold on to us. And I also shared in the bleep in the beginning of it was the essence that why people ask me why I'm not always doing so much, given so many cards, like given so many mediumship messages. Why am I not doing that? And it's because I am still doing that in the way that fulfills the soul's purpose, to live out my dharma, and that is to be able to help people be able to. I speak to your spirit. So the essence of communicating to a collective energy is communicating and connecting to your spirit that's trying to speak to you, and maybe you're not listening. And so when you get those aha moments, it's temporary satisfaction until you're willing to come full circle, to get to that point, to do the work on such a deeper, bigger level. So using my gifts and my abilities to be able to connect to the people that are right here on earth, to do the things that we need to do to live our best life, so that we are not betraying, we're not leaving ourselves behind, and we're not forgetting that we are valuable. There's no one in in this world that's any more valuable than you are. Even the people that you love, even the people that occupy your house. And the moment you sit last at the table and everyone else sits first, you're betraying yourself. When you continue to have those patterns. And so that's everything that we do. That is the everyday goddess. And that is the sense of inspiration, because our attitudes do seep out and they do appear and they do show up. And we are starting more than existing again tomorrow night. And we are starting a whole new level 1 tomorrow night. And that is the journey into you. And more than existing is, it's not just the book. I'm so much more than the stories people have. It's the essence of what we do, and how this book and how the beginning of this journey was the beginning of a transformational journey and a self-actualization and a self-realization of how deep our patterns run, how deep those cycles, those repeat patterns in our lives are. And if we want to end those cycles and, change our karma, to step into knowing that, stop seeking and looking for that life purpose and just live on purpose. It's amazing. It's just an incredible journey. And so Scarlett gave us that, and Scarlett gave us that message today. And it came flying out from nowhere. And I feel like she's no longer hiding. And I think she has a bigger story to tell. And so as these cards are now at the printer, we're still making the box fit, but everything else is at the printing company. So these cards are at the printing company, and we can't wait for them to come out. Is that, this has taken 3 years, and the journey to us is a lifetime journey. And once you start to know that you can't keep surface diving, because everything will be temporary satisfaction. It'll just be one more person for you to put your focus on, one more place that you'll be ignoring you, one more thing that is happening, that is happening within our lives. And when we start to step into new truth, which is what's coming with the energy we have happening this week. And I'll record this later today, but I do have to go watch my grandbabies for a little bit. But I will record that video and get it out later today. But it's, we have this big energy shift that's about to happen, and we're going to be feeling the effects of it for I want to say for a few years. And we're going to start really noticing it. And it's bringing us into our heart, and it's bringing us into evolving our emotions and being able to just kind of evolve our stories, like to grow beyond, expand those stories. And if you hear yourself saying, I know, I got it, but you have repeat happening, there's somewhere that, you don't really have it. We don't really know it. And that's how the patterns come back in. It's that sense of denial when we deny ourselves our own truth, and we deny our opportunities to dive deep in knowing we are worth investing into in any way, including into investing into knowing our own truth, taking our own accountability, getting focused on what's important, and moving beyond the past. It's so many things. So I'm just going to finish with one card. I fought you live. Is that what you said, Linda? Oh, that's funny. Hello, everyone who is watching. You're helping people help themselves. Yes, Lindsay, I am. So that people, it's always about being able to, so what we do, it actually is about being able to trust your own free will. I always get asked this all the time. When I'm teaching in More Than Existing, is always that sense of, oh, well, what about people's views or opinions, or it's whatever. And is it your woo-woo? No, it's not my woo-woo, but my woo-woo is a part of me. And so I don't deny myself and who I am, and I don't leave it out of who I am when I show up. But it is about being able to strengthen to heal your instinctual self, so that you can trust your intuition, you can plant new seeds, and you be able to inspire yourself to trust your own free will, to make your own choices and to be able to walk your own way, knowing that you have many to walk with you. We're never walking alone. There's so many walks with us. And so the card that follows this is the eye of the beholder. And so whatever, however the cards impact us or affect us or whatever we're feeling, sensing from it, if we take it to be personal, what is that personal? If it feels like it's speaking directly to you, then there's something in there that is a reflection of something that is triggering the emotions within ourselves. And so we all have the good, bad, and the ugly. We can all do something that is so out of character for ourselves. We can get lost in others' energy. We can get trapped in things, and we can walk around saying, I'm so much different than everyone. I'm so much more, I'm more special, and all of these things. Or you can say, I can't be around anyone because everyone makes me feel this way. Well, when we say that, it's like everyone makes me feel this way, is that what you're telling everyone else is that, you're not good, and I'm going to stay in my good energy, right? It's like, I'm light, you're not. And so these are all stories, and that's all they are, stories. And when we avoid being able to heal ourselves enough to be able to exist in our society and in our worlds, and we keep having to block and keep those things away, is that we don't want to have to face and see the pieces and the parts of ourselves that are worth discovering, because they can teach you some great lessons and some great truths and really truly help you evolve into the best version of you. And it is in the eye of the beholder, is that you may have one truth, but there's many more truths for you to discover about yourself, about the world around you. And it's about perspectives and views. And that's the energy we have. That's what we have happening around us. I do have to go. Got to drive over to take care of my grandbabies. For anyone in my class tonight, I look forward to seeing you tonight. And for anyone who wants to join my More Than Existing, we start tomorrow. It is 2 evenings a week. They are live and interactive, and then it is recorded. And it's going to be 4 months of Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6:30 till 8. If you can't make the lives, you can watch the recordings, and you still have time to sign up and become a part of it. If you are a previous member of the program and you want to come in and refresh again as the person you are today, that's also available. You can do that. Just contact us and we'll let you know what those costs are for coming back in. But much love. Have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.